Good morning, it's Monday, February 5th, 2024, this is 9 a.m. This is Muscatine County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to review the agenda.
Move to approve as presented. Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item number 3 is discussion of possible action to approve claims dated February 5th, 2024 in the amount of $289,158.90.
Move to approve.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Kurt. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item number 4 are items with Community Services Directors, Felicia Topper and Jessica Lopes. Morning, ladies.
Good morning.
First item is action to accept Felicia's retirement effective February 16th, 2024, and to affirm the Board of Supervisors' action on December 4th, 2023 to hire Jessica Bopes as Community Services Director, Disability Services Coordinator, effective January 2nd, 2024.
So moved.
So I have a motion by Nathan,
Second.
second by Scott. Any discussion? Well, I'd like to say thank you, Felicia, for all the hard work that you've done for us. It's been a pleasure working with you, and we wish you well in your retirement.
Thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
And just as an explanation for all of these things, or most of these things you're seeing here, this is really cleanup work to get the baton passed up from Felicia over to Jessica.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of the trust stuff and the banking and all that we're going through today. Okay. Item B is action to affirm Board of Supervisors action on January 2nd to hire Kate Froelich Cowzel as a trust social worker effective January 8, 2024.
Move to approve.
Motion by Scott, second by Kurt. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Item C is action authorizing Bopes and Froelich, I'm not gonna try that last name, I'll have to ask her. Access to all CBI online banking for community services business.
So moved.
Have a motion by Nathan,
Second.
second by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. I'd have one question about that. I don't know who Jessica, is that working well? I know we transitioned that business and we're able to get the reporting that you needed and,
It's doing just fine.
okay.
We're right now just dealing with the stop payment on checks. They're starting to charge us for those, so, Jessica's gonna be working with the bank to see what we can do about either getting those lowered or, eliminated if we possibly can.
Okay.
But it's doing what you hoped it would do,
Yes,
the whole thing. Okay.
yes.
All right, item D is authorization to remove Jennifer Watkins Schoenig due to resignation, remove Felicia Topper due to retirement, and to grant Community Services Director Jessica Wilkes full access to burial CDs at Midwest One Bank.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Kurt.
Burial
And-
CDs, is that for the when we just have to bury somebody fund?
No, actually, way back when Mike was the director, he set up burial CDs for certain folks at First National Bank.
Got it.
And then, and those are paid upon death to the nursing home, or to the funeral home. And somehow, my name and Jennifer's name got put on those CDs. So, we're trying to undo all of that stuff so that Jessica can be put on as a name on there, in case something needs to be done with those burial CDs, for some reason.
Okay,
Sounds good.
we voted that, right?
No.
Okay,
We're
so,
ready for a vote.
all right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, item E, action affirming community services authorization for a credit card through Midwest One Bank and increasing the credit limit to $7,500.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Last one item is the update on directors.
I just had to do that, I'm sorry.
It's kinda like a vaudeville routine.
We're just finishing up on all of the trust court orders for guardianship and conservatorship to be converted over to Jessica's name. I'm out of most of those. We've notified Social Security that Jessica's gonna be the new director for payee purposes, but the payeeships are underneath of the department, not necessarily under a person. But we wanted to let them know that that's gonna be the name on the checks going forward. So as soon as we get the bank stuff, this is part of, as soon as we get the bank stuff squared away, then we'll get her name on all those accounts, shift over our EMS system, which prints our checks, and then we should be good to go there. Our Miller Trust, we fixed back 6 months ago so that they don't name a director in particular, so those are all done. We've got her into EMS, we've got her into CSN, we've got her involved in the court process, and she is basking in the regional process, going to meetings, and those are related to budgeting. So she's becoming very familiar with how that process goes.
Actually, a good time of year actually for that, because you are going through all the budgets and the line items and lots of discussions and contracts, and so
Absolutely.
a little painful, but a good learning experience.
Absolutely.
The bank, I think I have signed off on all of the accounts.
Have you?
Yes. I think
Okay.
that was Friday.
So there you have it. I think we're getting there. And we will be done by the time I retire, so.
Okay.
Very good.
There you
Okay.
go. Thanks for everything.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, next item is to discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the January 29th, 2024 regular meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Scott,
I'll second.
second by Danny. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next item is correspondence. Scott?
The only thing I had is I had a call from a resident in regard to dirt and the little rock being bladed with the snow removal from the storms into the road ditch, and that's gonna be a very common issue with the volume of snow and being able to take and wing that off the edge of the shoulders and so on and so forth. So I think all the county residents have to have some good understanding and have some patience on this and in regard to what that is, and maybe even take care of their own house a little bit, as we say, because this particular individual wanted some quick action taken to remove this, and of course it's wet, it's sloppy, it's just incredibly difficult this time of year to do any of this. So I contacted Brian, and we spoke about the issue at hand, and it's going to be a common thing going forward. I mean, the girls' basketball tournament's coming up in March. There's going to be a blizzard that day, obviously. There always is. So we're not done, right? So that's where we're at. That's all I had.
Nathan?
Let's see, I had an email from a resident informing us about a Department of Labor, Housing and Urban Development career training event. It sounded like it'd be something that might dovetail with workforce development, so I forwarded it to Danny just this morning. So he probably hasn't even had a chance to see it. So whenever you do get a chance, Danny, take a look if you would.
Okay, I had nothing. To note, Danny?
I had a few calls from Dusty Buffeton about 245th on some maintenance. He was wanting, Brian was engaged in that. I spoke to Brian and, he's working on that. And I had a call from a Mike Dean about some parcels throughout the county that he was asking some questions. I talked to Jim. Jim gave me some feedback. I provided it to him. Them were the only two items I had.
Okay, Kurt?
I had nothing.
What about committee reports, Kurt?
On Thursday, the 25th of January, I had We Lead meeting.
I didn't have any committees this last week.
We had the conference board on, what was it, the
Tuesday,
20?
the 30th.
Tuesday the 30th. That was all for me.
Conference board on the 30th for me.
Scott?
Same for me, conference board on the 30th, that was it.
Okay, next on the agenda is items with the administration office. So first is a discussion possible action to approve resolution 0205-2404 granting an extension for the final plat of Braun subdivision.
So moved.
I have a motion by Nathan,
I'll second.
second by Scott. This is a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
And Kurt?
Aye.
That's an additional 90 days, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, item B is discussion of possible action to affirm the county attorney's ongoing authorization to act on behalf of the county in matters related to the county's participation in the opioid litigation.
Good morning. As you're aware, we've worked now for a year and a half on the opioid settlement process. A lot of the major players have been dealt with, but they're starting to work through some of the more minor named defendants in the case that may have had some involvement in it. We have and will probably continue to receive recommendations from council as to whether or not we pursue a defendant or not, or those sorts of steps going forward. And so it felt like it was probably just a good idea. I think that authority was previously conveyed to me, but wanted to just update the board and make sure that that was continuing and that there weren't any questions. There was one that came in last week, I think, is what probably precipitated this today on a couple of defendants that I think they wanted to dismiss on. Some of these folks have filed bankruptcy, those sorts of issues. So, I think the general rule of thumb would be if there's a likelihood that we could recover some funds, that they would. If we get to the point where council thinks we can't, then we might forego pursuing somebody, or at least acquiesce on behalf of Muscatine County. Obviously, all the counties have to make those decisions, so it's not just Muscatine. But again, just wanted to make sure the board was aware of that, so there wasn't some misunderstanding down the road. Why did you do that, or why didn't you do that, sort of a thing? Why didn't you come to us, sort of a thing? If it's of significance like it was in the beginning, obviously we'll be here. If it's of lesser significance or no action, non-event, then my intention wasn't necessarily to come every time. Okay, Nancy, anything else for you?
I think
So
covered it very
would you
well.
you would want an action on that, Nancy?
Yes,
probably?
I'm just looking for you guys to affirm that he still has the authority. We got an email, middle of last week. There's a couple companies, like Jim said, that their council's recommending that we forego litigation with them because we're not gonna get anything out of them. And so I talked to Jim about that, and we wanted to come back to you guys and make sure that you're still okay with him making decisions on that instead of bringing that sort of stuff in to you.
Okay.
And I'm basically gonna rely on council's recommendation that's representing us in the matter, but they ask out of, they are required to ask, so they ask. They obviously know significantly more about the details of each of those situations than I do, but they do request. And, again, if there's something significant, then I can assure you we'll be here. I'll be here to say something.
So it would probably make better to put it as an action item rather than a consensus, and that way we have it in minutes. So Danny made a motion to that effect. Do I have a second? A second by Nathan? I have a second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you, Jim and Nancy.
I don't have anything.
Anything else?
Nope.
Item 9 is receive information from county employees. Do we have any county employees that want to address the board? See the sheriff?
Just wanted to bring something to your guys' attention. We had a courthouse security meeting, I believe 2 weeks ago now. Part of that is we're looking at the potential to redesign our panic button system that we use across the county buildings. Hopefully, we intend to apply for a grant to cover the cost of that project, but I'll have more information on that as that process starts. So hopefully you hear something in the next week or two, whether we're able to apply for it or not. We have applied for it before and received funds for I believe the fire department got a grant last year with the help of EMA. So hopefully we'll be bringing that forward here in the next couple weeks. So just so you're aware.
Okay. Thank you, Quinn. Eric?
Following the discussion at the initial kickoff meeting of the comp plan steering committee, where they expressed their desire to put another public input session in that we originally didn't have in the contract with Bi-State, taking a look at the time frame, kind of setting out some potential scheduling of all the meetings and the project delivery. I went back and looked at the contract that we have with Bi-State. I think I told you last week they're not gonna charge any more to facilitate another public input session, so the contract amount that we have remains the same. However, the contract with Bi-State dictates that they'll bill the county at the completion of the project in 2024. The project won't be completed by the end of this fiscal year, so I spoke with Kayla. Not spent any of that money that's in this year's budget, so we're gonna amend it out at our upcoming budget amendment and put it in next year's budget. So like I said, we haven't spent any of it. We won't spend any of it till full project delivery. Kayla wanted me to mention that too, that we're gonna go ahead and put it in next year's budget and take it out of this year's, so.
Very good. Thank you, Eric. Anyone else?
And that was $25,222.
Okay, seeing no one else, any members of the public wish to address the board? Seeing no one come forward, it is 9:18 and the meeting is adjourned.